Lori!
Hello!
It's my faith twin, yeah.
All right, testing the volume.
Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
I gotta turn you up.
Need to turn my volume up. Praise the Lord. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Tombslayer podcast, The Place, where we have resurrectional conversations, and indeed, I just made that word up. Today is especially delicious. I am going to be introducing you guys to the person that I affectionately call my faith twin. This lady, we have been rocking since, I don't even remember what year it was, but she's the first person actually ever that I saw play a 7-string bass in church consistently, and the groove was real, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll get into the whole why I call her my faith twin. This lady is unstoppable. Whatever she puts her hands to prospers, works, and I'm just excited to have this conversation with my good friend. I don't even know which one to call it, to her actual name or her synonymous name, because she's in a best-selling children's book author as well. I'm going to use that name. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, LB Ann. Oh my God. Listen. Best
introduction ever.
You know I got to bring the fire for my faith twin.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You know what I'm saying?
All the love.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so do I call you LB or do I call you Lori? Which one? I don't even know.
LB. Everyone calls me LB. I'm so used to it now. And it came from an assistant that started calling me that. So yeah, Lori, LB, either is fine.
LB in the building. I know her as Lori, affectionately. Hey, Lori.
Hey.
Listen, I am so happy to have you on this podcast today, because really what we've been doing is encouraging believers that are going through just regular life. We're honestly, people can look at us and think that we are on this particular upper echelon or this high, platform or whatever, but we're regular people. To be honest,
yes.
We deal with life as it comes, and we have the same Holy Spirit on the inside of us that moves us and helps us navigate from one victory to the next victory, Yes. And so I'm really excited about having this conversation with you, because the reason why I call you my faith twin is because I'm hard pressed to find somebody else that's a go after it, go get it. What did God say? We're going to figure it out person like myself next to you. And so I want to start with your journey of trusting God with all of your weight. Because, it's like sometimes if a person gets into like an accident or whatever, and something happens to their leg, or they have surgery, there comes a point in time where they're going to have to start putting their weight back on that leg once it's been put back together. How did you learn to put weight on your faith like you have, and the different things that you've done?
Oh, wow. You had to start off deep, just right out there. Okay. Honestly, through trials. It came through trials. I've been through my share of trials. We've known each other, I don't know how many years, but you know about the divorce I went through. I really had no income at that time. So I had to trust God for everything.
Whoa.
And not be afraid to fail. So that meant if I stepped out there, if I fail, is that God's plan? I have to, what do I believe? Am I not supposed to be doing that? So at the same time as I'm stepping out there, adjusting to the roadblocks he might put up to guide me in a different direction. So there's so much. I'm trying to think how to narrow this down.
I got a good one. You just said something that sparked something in my mind. At no point did you give credit to the enemy in what you were saying just now, because you were talking about how if God allows roadblocks. Well, most people that I know would be like, well, the devil tried to stop me over there when I went to the left, and then I came over to the right, and the devil was you gave him no credit. It was all if God allowed this roadblock. So
Right.
where did you get that mentality from? Because a lot of people don't have it.
Well, from reading the word, I truly believe that God, nothing happens without God allowing it.
Yeah.
The book of Job,
Yes.
nothing happens without God allowing it. Satan could not touch Job without God's permission. So, yeah, so forget him.
Yeah.
It's God that I trust in, no matter how bad things have ever gotten. And I've gotten to some low points, Christian. I don't even know if you remember when I lost my company, a global brand, and I was at the point of suicide because I fell into such a big depression from that.
Well, let's talk
And
about
you
that.
and you called me.
I remember. I was getting on a plane.
Yeah.
I was getting on a plane.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I was walking on a plane. I don't even remember how many years ago that was. So the company was that the Lip Factory? Which company was that?
Yes.
How did that whole thing transpire? Like what? So, okay, so I met you first as a bass player in the church. Next thing I know, you got a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, you got a lipstick company, like that, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of a lipstick company or makeup company or whatever. So
a beauty box, yeah,
beauty box. How did that how did that start? How did you go from one thing, and we'll get to like the disappointment, like we'll walk up to that moment, but like when I met you as a bass player, where did the whole gym thing come from? What gave you the idea to start that?
So I had been a personal trainer for years, but that was going to the homes of my clients.
Okay.
Then gyms, their gyms, my gym. But the thing I was noticing was the people around us in the gym were taking my exercises and doing them. And I'm seeing them months later and they're all fit. And I'm like, you've been doing all my for free, watching me with my clients.
Right.
I said, no, I got to get my own place. So from there, I opened my warehouse gym. I got a Zumba license because I love Zumba and started teaching there. But at the same time, probably about the same time, I went to a department store and they didn't sell makeup for my complexion. So that was the point where I said, can I do something about that? Lord, are you giving me some ideas?
Right.
So that's where Lip Factory evolved from. And the bad part is I didn't fully do my research. I didn't know how many beauty box companies were out there at the time until I got started. But after I got started, I did do my research. And I just started ordering the products. And it was by the grace of God because the companies that worked with me shouldn't have been working with someone this small. They don't do that.
Wait, so you were actually calling the companies?
Yes. Emailing and calling the cosmetics brands to get their products in my beauty boxes. So all of that started falling into place. And then I said, well, what can I do different in this market? I see this person is only charging $10. They're handling that. This person has makeup and perfume and different things in their box. I said, they all have minis. I'm putting full-size products. I was the first beauty box to put full-size products in their boxes, and everybody then started copying off of me.
Wow.
So this thing blew so big, so quickly. It was incredible.
Wow.
It was incredible.
So did you feel like, and this is a good question for some people, do you feel like God said for you to start that, or was it just something like, let me go over here and see if this works? Because a lot of people wait for, the heavens to open up or a prophetic word. They'll say, the Lord, I see you jumping rope. I see you going to, whatever. Like, was it just something inside where you were going to give it a try, or did you know that God told you to do that?
I knew I was supposed to do fitness, but With Lip Factory, I was just stepping out there and believing God would bless it.
Woo.
Now, not that I wasn't supposed to do it, because I learned so much. Everything I learned in that, I'm using now. So
Whoa.
I felt that that was part of my journey to where I am now. It was supposed to be. However, it's where I put that company in my life.
What do you mean?
It became like an idol in my life because that's all I cared about. So it was like my company, God, husband, children, that type of thing.
Right. The priority of life.
I lived, ate, drank, slept the company. So for me to lose it due to another company ripping me off, now that I look back on it, I'm not surprised. It needed to happen because I had learned a valuable lesson in that. That company closed down like within a month after that. But
What?
yes.
Wow. Now that part I didn't know.
But yeah, they did. So it was a hard time. It was tough. Like I said, getting back to you calling me that day, that was the defining day, the day you called. You and my brother kept me from going over that ledge. So you wonder why people are in your...
You're not going to make me cry.
You wonder why people are in your lives. For all we know, it was for that moment, because what you said to me, even though I didn't outright tell you how I was feeling, you said, you think I didn't hear what you said. I heard what you said, and I don't like it. And I don't know. Do you remember your words? I don't, because that's stuck with me.
Okay,
because you read into what I was saying without me saying it. So, yeah. And then right after you, my brother called. Man. And from him listening to what I was saying, he said, I can't do this life without you. And I said, what? And he said, I can't do this life without you, because we're a year and a day apart. We've grown up like twins. And he was letting me know what I meant to him when the church was not. And I have to say that because I don't know if I've ever told anyone that, because I called the church for prayer. They prayed with me. I'll call you back the next day to check on you. I never got that call. You called. So I never got the call from the church, but you called. So in a way, the church did call through you.
Yeah. Well, we are the church. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility as believers to be exactly that. You remember there's a story in the scripture, in the Bible rather, where Jesus was like, hey, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. And you're going to say to me, when did I see you hungry? Like, when was you thirsty and I gave you something to drink? When did that happen? When were you naked and I clothed you? I don't ever remember that. As much as you've done it to the least of these, you've done it as unto me. And so our responsibility as Christians is not just to go to church on Sundays and have a great time and put the stickers on the back of our car. We have the responsibility of being the hands and feet of Jesus. All of us do. Not just the pastors, not just the elders, not just the people who we consider in those positions to be the ministers, these are the ones that are ministers of the gospel, and they such and such and such. And we pay our tithe that we give, and so that they can keep doing what they're doing. But you don't pick up the phone when somebody comes to your mind and give them a call and allow the Spirit of God that knows what they're dealing with, knows the connection and the relationship that he brought together to minister to that person in the time that they need it. For me to have been that for you, it means so much to me, because we're locked. We are brother and sister. This is forever, and it's because I actually took the time to do that, to make that call. I don't know if people really, really understand how important that is.
Yeah.
Really understand that some of the people that aren't here today, it's not that they're not here because, you know, this person didn't do that or that. Maybe it's because you didn't make that phone call. Oh man, I just thought about such and such, man. And you didn't call them. And next thing you know, man, you heard about such and such? No, you know?
Yes.
And that's important. Why else are we in each other's lives if we can't be that to each other?
Right.
You were that for me. When, listen, I'm that dude. I'm telling you, I went to that Los Angeles and I got a hold of that doggone aloe vera drink.
Oh, yeah.
Lord, bought a soda machine just so I could.
Goodness.
I remember coming back from LA with a suitcase full of aloe drinks. And I'm sitting here with a soda machine and all these aloe drinks. And you're like, hey, why don't you put it in the gym? And I'm like, you activated my faith. Because just so like, good. Oh my, that drink, it was amazing. Listen, that thing was amazing. I made about $15, but because I kept drinking the product. But listen, what I'm saying is, you were the opportunity for me to exercise my faith in this space that I had never been in. Mm-hmm. Just like you said a minute ago, it wasn't that God. You knew that you were supposed to do fitness, but with the beauty box thing, it was like, hey, let's just see if I go over there, if God's gonna bless that too.
Right.
And he did.
And he did. And he did. And from there, after that ended, I also had a box for kids that tripled the size of the beauty box company. What? But because I had to file bankruptcy on the beauty box company, the judge said, you can't have a thriving company and file bankruptcy on that one. So both have to go. So I had to sell that one to another company, which, yeah, it was a rough time. So from there, I fell back into chiropractic. I was a chiropractic assistant for years. I've always worked more than one job at a time. It's always been like 2 or 3 jobs.
Come on, multiple streams.
I fell back into that, and my coworker, the coworkers would say, Lori, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should do this. And one of my coworkers would always say, no, she shouldn't be here. She's a businesswoman. She's not staying here. And she kept saying that. And everyone would just shut up.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, she knows me. I am a businesswoman. That's what I know. So when we moved out of the Orlando area, and I talked to a chiropractor I knew in this area, and he didn't have a position available, he called an attorney. And attorney called me, we're hiring case manager, blah, blah, blah. I walked in. I have never not gotten any interview that I went to.
Come on now.
And this one, he was like, why should we hire you? And, you know, these were tough guys. And I said, because I will be the best case manager you've ever had. So, and look, mind you, I've never done this before.
I don't even know what is this again?
They hired me. They hired me, but I'm saying this to say it was my coworker who was reading a book series. She read a book a day. So she read through her lunch break, before work, after work. She was reading a book series, and she was telling me about it. And I said, that sounds interesting. So I went online and got it. I read the book in 3 days. It ignited something in me. And I had to write. I wrote my first book in 2 weeks because of that book series. And I've been writing ever since. And I was able to tell him that what his book series meant to me. It's science fiction, but you can tell he's a Christian.
Yeah.
The way he writes.
Yeah.
But it just ignited something. And I see my past through looking back. I see how it all led to where I am now. And
man,
I have to mention the obedience, because when I wrote my top selling book, which has sold over 200,000 copies, the one that teens and kids and youth groups contact me about, because of the way it teaches hope, I had said, Lord, who is going to buy this? Because it's Christian fiction. You don't even hear about Christian fiction.
Right, I was like, what is Christian fiction? What is
that? I said, what parent is going to pick this up? I'm like, Lord, I got scared before. I really got scared before it released. And 2 weeks before it released, I totally changed the book cover. Went with a whole new designer, had already paid for the first one. I saw this person's work and had to have it. I've sold maybe half my copies just based on that book cover. Man. I feel like God was leading me in what to do. And because I was obedient,
yes,
that series, I don't know if you've seen the videos with the kids.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Yes. And it's about kids who are Christians, who are fighting against evil, saving the hope of the world, diverse characters, and the kids love it. And I feel like it was that obedience, because he said, do this. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this out here. Even I don't know who's going to buy this.
Okay. So you already know I'm a preacher. So my mind is like, I got 17 scriptures. But one of them that comes to mind, the top of my mind, is the one that says, the eyes of the Lord are looking to and fro, forward, backwards and forward on the earth, looking to find somebody to show himself strong on their behalf. I believe that the people that he is looking for and that he targets for stuff like what you're talking about are people that are in motion. People who have decided, even within themselves, that I'm not going to sit here at this job when I know that there's something more in me. Even if I sit here at this job, that I'm going to find ways to tap into the greatness or the greater that's in me, even if I don't know if this is cool with God for me to do. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to start that. I'm going to poke bears, so to speak. It's like, there's a story in the Bible where the city was besieged by its enemies, and there was a great famine in the city, right? To the point where people were like eating dove's dung and all this other kind of, you're right. The Book of Kings, I believe, First Kings, or Second Kings, one or two. Anyway, somebody came to the king and was like, King, avenge me, because we agreed, me and this lady agreed that we was gonna boil my child and eat him today, and we was gonna eat hers tomorrow, and then she hid her child, and now we both hungry, and she won't tell us where her child is, so we get. It's like, oh my God, the king is just like, I cannot with this. Prophet of the Lord speaks. He says, by this time tomorrow, this is going to be sold for that. That's going to be sold for that. And it's going to be amazing. Right. So the word of the Lord had already come forth from the mouth of the prophet. Right. And God's word does not return void. The next thing we hear about is some lepers that decided, hey, why don't we, why are we going to sit here until we die? If we go into the city, there's a famine in the city and we're going to die there. If we sit here, we're lepers. We're going to die here. If we go into the camp of the Syrians, then if they keep us alive, then at least they feed their prisoners. But if we die, we just die, because we got 3 death choices, but one has a possibility of life. One has the possibility of us getting fed. Then when they started walking, he used their footsteps and made it sound like chariots that brought fear to the people to the camp of the Assyrians, and they ran and left everything. My whole point is this. At no point in that story did those people get a prophetic word from God, get thee up and go thou into the camp of the Assyrians. Literally, they decided, you know what? I'm going to move. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try this out. And we're going to see what happens. And God used that just like you. And I believe that the reason why he's able to use you in this whole different, this authorship is because all of those years ago, you were already willing to move. Most
Yes.
people aren't willing to pivot from what they are comfortable with, what they've done all their lives, and step into this new space. That's tough.
And it has not been easy. I wouldn't want anyone to think it's an easy process. The authors that I coach or mentor, they find out it is not. I am a wealth of so much information now because of all of this. But I did say to God when I first started, if I'm doing this only to change the life of one person, so be it.
Yeah.
I kept saying that to God because I didn't know how far this was going to reach. Like, there are kids that email me. I never thought about God until I read your book series.
Whoa.
I had parents and grandparents email me all the time, but one parent emailed me, "This is my daughter's favorite series. She's read the whole thing. When is the next book?" I'm nosy. I went and checked out her page. She's a witch. So this is a witch and her daughter's reading Christian fiction. What impact might that have on her child? When you think about it in that way, God is creeping into that girl's life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so I never realized the impact it would have. I know I have to say, when I first started and the bills started coming in, my husband's like, "Whoa, wait, what's going on? What what are you doing?" And I said, "Give me 2 years." I said, "Please give me 2 years to learn everything I can about this industry, and then you'll see." When I tell you, 2 years later, I handed him a check for thousands. He was like, his eyes were wide. He was like, "What is this for?" I said, "That's for you." And
I receive on today.
kept going because there's so much. Like, you have to be, whatever industry you're in, you have to be open to knowledge. Like, for me, if I'm not learning, I'm dying. I have to be learning, and there is just so much to learn in this industry, but obedience is huge.
I love that you brought that up, because I'm one who I wasn't formally trained to do what I do, even when it pertains to video production or music production or singing or playing keys or any of that kind of stuff. I was never formally trained to do any of the stuff that the rooms that I'm able to walk in by the grace of God have blown my mind. And I believe that I've stewarded those rooms well. How much more could I have advanced even up to this point had I had your kind of mentality of, let me dive all the way into this thing. Let me figure out all there is. Because somebody's like, well, I know how to write books. It's just putting words on paper. I'm pretty good at it. There's nothing for me to learn, because everybody's got their own path or whatever. And so I'll make my own path. What was there for you to learn about writing books?
Oh, there's so much, because nowadays everyone is a coach, and there are so many online. And a lot of times there are people who have written one book.
Ooh.
And a book that's not even selling.
Ooh.
And a book that was done wrong. Because the people that come to me, I research everyone. So I find out what you put out there and who you've been working with, and before I decide if I'm going to work with them, because we have to align morally. There's things that
let's start there.
There's things that people have brought, and no, I can't not. Or someone who wants me to endorse their book, and there's things in it that should never be in a children's book. So, so there's so much to learn, because this industry, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. So it's more male driven in a way.
Yeah.
And there are things you don't find out unless you in the room with the people who are making $200,000 a month or more, those kind of authors.
We must pause. Did you say 200,000 a month?
Yes, that's who I chose to be my mentors, meaning
I'm about to go write something because I'm about to pick up a book and start writing because good God in heaven, that's real.
that's real. That is real. But here's the kicker. They write in thrillers, romance, military thrillers, that kind of stuff. That's what sells. What I write doesn't sell. So this is all God because what I write is not supposed to sell. So I'm learned from the people who's already doing it, who's been doing it for years and know all the things. That's how I learned. So when I first started, I thought I wanted to do a lot of school visits, but I've said all my life that I needed to make money while I slept. So I don't know why I even, I'll do them, and book signings, you don't make money from book signings. People just don't know that.
No.
But that's how I connect with my readers. And it's fun to meet the kids at school. So, but there was an author who had a book about school visits and what you need to do and all of that. And so I bought the book because I wanted to do a lot of school visits. And at the back of the book, if you have any questions, call me. I said, this can't be right. She does not have her phone number at the back of the book. I called the number and she picked up.
Whoa.
And she said, LB Ann, you used initials. That's good because no one likes female authors. And I'm like, what? And she's telling me all these different things. And
whoa.
There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens pertaining people of color, how we're seen in the industry. So yeah, I had to learn all about that kind of stuff, but also writing, formatting, because I do everything in-house except my book covers and except editing. I can't edit my own work.
Got it.
Those go out to editors, and my book covers, professional illustrators, but I format in-house. There's a huge business aspect, which is where all my past stuff comes in. There's so much on the business end, marketing and advertising. I cannot even begin to go into everything. Layers. And people who come to me and say, I have this book idea. I started writing it. God wants me to have it out in 3 months. God didn't tell you that because God knows what goes into this.
Uh-oh. You got to pause.
There's no way.
You got to pause right there. God didn't tell you that because he knows the process. So we can look at your harvest. We look at people's harvest and see how amazing that looks, and we can taste of the fruit and all this other kind of stuff. But we don't know the process of preparing the ground before the seed even went into it. Cultivating the seed and nurturing it, weeding and all of the years, because sometimes the first batch of fruit isn't sweet.
Right. And that's okay. My first book, it sold, I don't know, maybe 250 copies. That's the norm for authors. Many authors, they sell no more than 300 books their entire lives.
Wow.
So that's the norm for indie authors. That means independent authors. So, but I wasn't stopping there. The Lord kept giving me ideas and I kept writing. So it was my 4th book series that took off, even though, no, it wasn't the second. My Lolo and Winkle series took off. That was the second series. And then the 3rd series, I didn't publish it. And then the 4th series took off. The 3rd series now is the one that I've had 2 networks contact me about. So it's science fiction, young adult, but we'll see if anything comes of it. I'm just feel blessed that they even contacted me. But there's authors who contact me and say, the reason I continue to coach and mentor authors is because they're falling victim to vanity presses. Vanity presses say, give me this many thousand and I'll publish your book. So it's anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000, which is a ripoff. Not the three. I would say 5 and up is a ripoff. So some of the vanity presses, they're fine. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but others are totally ripping people off. And I always say, please ask me before you do that. Yeah. I either know about them or can check them out for you. Thousands. You have no idea. I have some horror stories. So they come to me and with a so-called finished product. That's the other issue in the industry. Your book has to be able to stand up to a traditionally published novel. You can't just put anything out there.
Wow. Unless
you're just trying to sell to your friends and family members and just want author after your name and your title. That's
word.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're, and right now I'm speaking specifically to Christians.
Yes.
If you're a Christian and you feel like God has given you this book, why wouldn't he want your best?
All right, good people, listen up now. If you enjoyed that episode, trust me, there's a lot more where that came from. So make sure you subscribe to Tombslayer YouTube page because you don't want to miss one of these conversations. You don't want to miss this sweet, sweet hat game either now.